Gavin didn't know what was going on, and he was getting really annoyed. With so many of his classmates watching, he had to grit his teeth and try another contact. Gavin made another call, this time to the head of the local police precinct. This guy also had a good relationship with his dad. As soon as the phone connected, Gavin immediately said, "Director Monroe, it's me, Gavin. I've got a situation here in the development zone." With that, Gavin explained what was happening again. The person on the other end said awkwardly, "Gavin, those guys are with Blake, and Blake works for Orville Hudson. You'd be better off staying out of this." Gavin asked, "So you're not going to do anything?" The other man said, "You should know Orville Hudson's reputation." Gavin was getting a little frantic. "Then can't you at least pull some strings and talk to them for me?" The other man chuckled. "I really can't help you there. Sorry." Gavin got angry and said, "Director Monroe, I seem to remember you wanting the M Grand Group to donate a bunch of new police cars to your precinct. Don't you want them anymore?" The man on the other end didn't even bother arguing. He just said coldly, "Gavin, your dad has been fired from the M Grand Group. Didn't you know?" "Fired? When did that happen?" Gavin blurted out. "Half an hour ago," the man said. Then he added, "You should probably figure out what's going on before you start throwing your weight around." After that, he hung up the phone. Scarface saw he was stunned and said with a sneer, "What's the matter? Can't find anyone to help you?" Gavin was about to say something, but before he could, Scarface slapped him hard across the face. Gavin staggered backward, crashing into a table and chairs. The whole room gasped. Everyone's face went pale, but no one dared to step in and stop Scarface. "You dare hit me?" Gavin clutched his face, pure anger showing on his pale features. "What's wrong with hitting you?" Scarface smiled, then kicked Gavin in the stomach, sending him to the ground. He followed it up with a vicious beatdown. Gavin screamed as they beat him, but at this moment, no one could help him. After a little while, Gavin's face was beaten into a swollen mess covered in blood. It looked terrible. Terrified of the beating, Gavin started crying and begging. "Big brother, I was wrong. Please stop hitting me." "Wrong?" Scarface snorted coldly. "You think that's all it takes? You tried to act tough with me. If I don't put you in your place, how am I supposed to keep my reputation?" He then motioned to his guys. "Get him! Hit him hard!" The whole crew rushed forward, punching and kicking Gavin. One of them even started smashing him with a baseball bat. The scene was brutal. Seeing that Gavin was beaten half to death, Scarface walked over to Darren and threatened coldly. "Your friend tried to act tough with me. The original 20% is now 40%. If you don't agree, his fate is what awaits you too." Darren was terrified, but if he gave up 40% of his shares, he would just be working for this gang. He gathered his courage and said, "If you want 40%, then you might as well just kill me." Scarface frowned and said coldly, "Okay, then I'll be happy to grant your wish." After saying that, he pulled a gleaming, sharp knife from his pocket. Everyone was frightened, and the female classmates started to scream. Charlie saw that Scarface was about to go after Darren, and he immediately blurted out, "Put the knife down!" Scarface turned his head and cursed, "Who the hell thinks they can tell me what to do?" When he turned his head and saw Charlie, his eyes were confused at first, then filled with pure panic. He dropped to his knees with a thud. Before anyone could react, Scarface had already dropped the sharp knife. He started bowing repeatedly, pleading, "Mr. Charlie, sorry, I didn't know you were here. I didn't see you." Charlie was surprised for a moment. He looked at Scarface and said, "Do you know me?" Scarface nodded frantically. "Mr. Charlie, I work for Boss Blake." "I've seen you at the mansion." It suddenly clicked for Charlie. So that was it. This guy worked for Blake, who was one of Orville's men. Blake was the one who had dealt with Gerald and Harold at the Classic Mansion that day. No wonder this guy was so terrified of him. Even Orville himself was scared of Charlie, let alone one of his guy's subordinates. The classmates were shocked. Aria was also in a daze, as if she were dreaming. No one understood why a fierce gangster like Scarface, a guy who had just slapped Gavin, would kneel down for Charlie. And why did he look so afraid of Charlie? Claire was also stunned and asked Charlie, "What's going on? Do you know him?" Charlie was afraid she would misunderstand and think he was involved with gangsters, so he quickly said, "I don't know him." When Scarface heard that, he quickly added, "I don't know Mr. Charlie, and Mr. Charlie doesn't know me. I've just heard his name and have a lot of respect for him." That worthless son-in-law? This guy was respecting Charlie? No one could accept this reality. It was completely surreal. Scarface quickly said to Darren, "You're Mr. Charlie's friend. From now on, your restaurant is under my protection, and I won't charge you any protection fee. If anything happens, I'll help you take care of it." When they heard this, everyone was stunned. Aria was so overjoyed she could have cried. The complete turnaround was just too much. Because of Charlie, they saved 40% of the shares. More importantly, Scarface was willing to protect the restaurant for free just to get on Charlie's good side. Now they could run their business without any worries. Charlie had saved the day. Darren was also grateful and said sincerely, "Charlie, I really can't thank you enough for this." Charlie smiled and said, "Don't mention it. You're giving me too much credit." Scarface looked at Gavin, who was unconscious on the floor, and said with fear and worry, "I'm sorry, Mr. Charlie. I beat up your friend." Charlie said casually, "It doesn't matter. He's not my friend, just an acquaintance. We're not close." Then he added, "You should take him to the hospital. Don't ruin the grand opening here." Scarface nodded immediately. "We'll take him to the hospital right away. Mr. Charlie, you carry on. We won't bother you anymore." After he said that, he quickly motioned to his guys. They picked up the unconscious Gavin and rushed off. Everyone's gaze on Charlie shifted from contempt to surprise, and from surprise to awe. No one knew why Charlie had so much influence. This live-in son-in-law seemed to have suddenly become a completely different person. At the party, many people came to get on Charlie's good side, including Aria Hughes, who had been the first to look down on him. Aria now looked at Charlie like he was a god. She kept thanking him and even offered him free meals for life at the restaurant. Charlie didn't pay it much mind. He had just done a favor for Darren, helping him out of a little trouble. But in the eyes of everyone else, what he had done that day seemed almost magical. Everyone wanted to know what had happened to this kept man of a son-in-law. Claire was also very curious about what happened today. First, there was Charlie's 520. How on earth was it twice as fast as Gavin's 540? Then there was the ancient painting that cost hundreds of thousands of dollars. Also, why did Charlie know people from the criminal underworld? And why did they give him so much respect? On the way back, Charlie explained everything. He told Claire that the 520 was a test drive car from a car dealership. To make potential buyers think the car was really powerful, they had modified it a little. Claire didn't know much about cars, so she naively believed him. As for the ancient painting, he had already explained that. However, the whole thing with Scarface was a bit trickier to explain. After all, the guy had called him Mr. Charlie with so much respect, and Charlie couldn't just brush that off. In the end, he could only say that Scarface was a relative of one of his friends. He explained that he'd seen him at a friend's party before, and the guy was just being respectful because of their mutual friend. Claire felt like something was off, but seeing how sure Charlie was, she knew it was useless to keep asking, so she dropped it. Elsa had been watching Charlie the whole time. She felt there was more to him than met the eye, so she decided to keep observing him to figure out what secrets he was hiding. Gavin, on the other hand, was in a miserable state. He was in a coma when they brought him to the hospital. His father had been fired from the M Grand group after being found guilty of using his position for personal gain. The M Grand group's legal department had sued him, and he was immediately arrested by the authorities. You could say Gavin's family was completely ruined. However, his family wasn't well known in Auris Hill, so nobody really cared about what happened to them. The people who really had everyone's attention were the God-tier tycoon and the mysterious VIP who had booked the entire Sky Garden. Everyone was dying to know who he was. Were the tycoon and the mysterious person one and the same? Soon, their wedding anniversary arrived. Because Charlie had told Claire a long time ago that he wanted to give her a surprise, he insisted that she put on a noble and elegant white evening dress before they left. Claire reluctantly agreed, mumbling to herself, "We're just going out to eat. Why do I have to get so dressed up? I know it's our anniversary, but does it really have to be this big of a deal?" Charlie smiled and said, "Today is our 3rd anniversary. It should be special. I've already booked a place, and I promise you'll love what I have planned for tonight." He had done a great job keeping everything a secret lately, and his wife hadn't suspected a thing. Claire smiled softly, feeling touched. For their first 2 anniversaries, they had just spent a quiet evening at home. Even though Charlie had no money back then, he always managed to find a small gift to make her happy. But this year, Charlie was being unusually mysterious, which made her wonder what her husband had up his sleeve. After a little while, they both got dressed, went outside, and hailed a cab, heading all the way to the Aurelius Grand. Charlie got out of the car and looked at Claire standing beside him, his eyes filled with a softness he couldn't put into words. "Claire, tonight, we're here to celebrate our 3rd wedding anniversary. What do you think?" Claire's expression suddenly turned strange. She wondered where on earth Charlie had booked a table for them tonight. She asked cautiously, "You're not tricking me, are you?" Charlie smiled. "Of course not. I made a reservation here a few days ago. If you don't believe me, we can go in and check." Claire shook her head. In their 3 years of marriage, Charlie had never lied to her, especially not on a day as important as this. "No, I believe you." Then she asked, "You didn't reserve a spot in the Sky Garden, did you? I thought some big shot booked the whole place tonight." Charlie quickly replied, "I booked a table right next to the Sky Garden. It's perfect because we can see inside. We might even get a peek at who it is that reserved it. What do you think?" Claire smiled and said, "I'm not as nosy as you are." With that, the 2 of them walked into the Aurelius Grand. Just as they were about to head upstairs, a woman's sharp voice called out, "Oh, Claire, what are you doing here?" Claire looked up and saw a young man and a woman walking toward them. The man was wearing a luxurious suit, and you could tell at a glance that he was some rich kid from a wealthy family. The woman was decked out in designer brands with flawless makeup, but her expression was full of arrogance, and her dress was a bit tacky. Claire recognized the woman. It was Bella Kaufman, her roommate from college. Even though Bella and Claire shared a dorm room, they weren't in the same classes, and despite living together, their relationship had always been just okay. This was mostly because Bella acted all high and mighty and was incredibly jealous. She had always felt that Claire didn't deserve to be called the campus beauty, and that she should have been the real prom queen. But in reality, she couldn't hold a candle to Claire in terms of looks, build, or personality. However, the woman did have one advantage. She was especially good at getting men to fall for her. Rumor had it she dated a string of rich guys back then. Apparently, they were the ones who paid for all her expenses during her 4 years of college. Claire frowned. But since they were old classmates, she had to be polite. As they got closer, she forced a smile and said, "Bella, long time no see. My husband and I are here for dinner. What about you?" Bella said with a look of surprise. "Wow, what a coincidence! My husband and I are here for dinner too." Then with fake curiosity, she asked, "By the way, what kind of table did you book? A regular one or one of the private dining rooms? Premium or luxury?" Claire had no idea what Charlie had planned, so she could only answer honestly, I'm not sure. My husband made the reservation. Just then, Bella finally seemed to notice Charlie. She covered her mouth with her hand as she smiled and said, "Oh, so this is your husband, Charlie, right?" He was so plain back in school. The insult hidden behind her words was impossible to miss. Claire looked embarrassed. Bella quickly acted apologetic. "Oh, sorry. I can be so blunt sometimes. You don't mind, do you?" Charlie frowned slightly. This woman was definitely trouble. Bella completely ignored the look on Claire's face. She proudly pulled the man next to her forward and said, "Let me introduce you to my husband, Victor Case." Then she boasted, "He's the eldest son of the Case family here in Oris Hill and the heir to their multi-million-dollar fortune." Claire just nodded politely. Charlie's expression darkened. He had brought his wife out to celebrate their wedding anniversary, and the last thing he expected was to run into someone so obnoxious. Bella went on, "By the way, my husband is a platinum member here. He has a lot of pull. I bet Charlie only got you a regular table, right? Why don't I have Victor get you an upgrade to a luxury one? What do you say?" Claire was about to say no, but Charlie just laughed and said, "I booked a great spot, so we're good." He was about to host a grand wedding ceremony for Claire in the Sky Garden. What was so special about being a platinum member? The entire Aurelius Grand belonged to his family. Taking his wife to a simple luxury suite, available to any platinum member, would be like admitting defeat. At this time, Bella said with some dissatisfaction, "Claire, look at this husband of yours. You don't know how to push him to be better. How do you even handle him?" As she spoke, she grabbed Victor's arm, rested her head on his shoulder, and said with a smile, "Charlie's behavior just isn't right for a classy place like this. Maybe he should ask my husband for a few pointers on high society etiquette. After all, Victor studied in England." Victor glanced at Charlie with contempt and smirked. "Honey, don't give me such an impossible task. Mr. Charlie is so set in his ways. Trying to teach him high society etiquette? I'm afraid that would be a waste of time." Bella Kaufman nodded, sighed, and said to Claire, "Honestly, if I were you, I'd divorce him. You're just wasting your life being married to a poor guy like Charlie. You deserve so much better." Bella said it all so bluntly, without any concern for Claire's feelings. Claire couldn't take it anymore. She said coldly, "Bella, what's that supposed to mean?" "You have no right to talk about my husband like that." Bella covered her mouth and smiled. "Oh, don't act so high and mighty. You looked down on me all through college. You thought you were so special, the campus queen, just because your family had a little money? Now that you've married so poorly, you can't stand to hear me talk about it?" Charlie was furious when he heard this. This Bella Kaufman, who was known for getting around in school, had used her looks to land a rich guy, and now she was acting like she was some kind of royalty. How dare she laugh at his wife? She was really asking for it. A surge of anger rose in Charlie's chest. He pulled out his phone and sent a text message to Isaac, the manager of the Aurelius Grand. "Send me everything you have on Bella Kaufman, Victor Case's wife. I need it in 3 minutes." When Bella saw Charlie just looking down at his phone without saying a word, she laughed even harder. "Look at your husband, Claire. I'm making fun of you, and he doesn't even have the guts to say anything back." Just then, Charlie's phone buzzed with a text from Isaac. "Sir, I've sent you the information on Bella Kaufman." Charlie read the long text message, then looked up at Bella and her husband, Victor. A small smile played on his lips as he asked, "I just got some interesting information. Would you two like to hear it?" Bella frowned and asked, "What information?" Charlie said loudly, "Bella Kaufman, female, age 26, graduate of Oris Hill University. During your freshman year, records show you were with no less than 100 different men, and you were intimate with 8 of them, including Logan Weaver, Grayson Archer, and Sam Brown." Bella was stunned. Her face went pale as she blurted out, "What are you talking about?" Be careful, I'll sue you for slander." Victor frowned, clearly shocked by what he was hearing. Charlie continued. "Oh, and this is interesting. You were with two men at the same time on several occasions. One was named Noah Paxton, and the other was Levi Paxton. They seem to be brothers." Bella Kaufman in horror. "You're lying! You're making it all up!" Charlie didn't stop. "Also, during your sophomore year, you were kept by the vice president of Sunrise Corporation for $30,000 a month. The relationship lasted for 3 years, with more than one health issue along the way. Your last visit to the Aris Hill Women's and Children's Hospital was particularly serious, and the doctor said it might affect your chances of having children in the future." He then turned to Victor and asked curiously, "Mr. Case, if I'm not mistaken, you don't have any children yet, do you?" Victor's expression turned ugly. He glared at Bella and demanded, "What is he talking about?" Sweat poured down Bella's face as she said in a panic, "Victor, don't listen to him. He's just making things up. I gave myself to you for the first time. You know that." Charlie just smiled. "Don't worry, there's more. It gets even better." Bella frantically grabbed Victor's arm, trying to pull him away. "Stop talking! Honey, let's go! We're going to be late for dinner!" Victor stood his ground, his eyes fixed on Charlie. "What else?" Charlie smiled. "Listen closely. After graduating from college, Bella had extensive plastic surgery at a cosmetic clinic. A month later, she got a job at Case Industries and deliberately got to know you, Victor Case, by scratching your car. After he finished, Charlie looked up at Victor. Am I right?" Victor was speechless. He knew those last parts were true. That meant all the other things were probably true too. Bella was pale, her whole body shaking in panic. She begged Charlie, "Charlie, I'm begging you, please stop talking, please." Charlie sneered. "Now you're begging me? Sorry, it's too late." Then he added, after knowing Victor Case for just 2 weeks, she used a business trip to San Francisco as an excuse to get restorative surgery at a Beverly Hills plastic surgery clinic. When she got back, she officially became Victor's girlfriend, and they were married within 6 months. Bella had slumped to the floor. She had no idea how Charlie knew all her secrets. He was airing all her dirty laundry right in front of her husband. Victor was so furious that he looked like steam was about to come out of his ears. He whirled around, glared at Bella, and screamed, "So you lied to me! That night wasn't your first time, was it?" Bella quickly denied it. "No, Victor, you were my first." Charlie smiled. "Don't worry, I can get the medical records from her surgery. You'll know the truth as soon as you look them up." Victor grabbed Bella by the collar. "Are you going to tell me the truth or not? Because after I check those records, I'm throwing you out. Your father, your mother, your brother, all of them are getting kicked out of my villa. And your brother can forget about his job at Case Industries. I'll leave your whole family on the street." Bella finally broke down, crying and kneeling on the floor, begging for mercy. "Honey, please don't be angry. I was wrong. Those were all mistakes I made when I was young and foolish. I changed my ways for you. I'm a different person now." Just then, Charlie added, "Don't believe her. Even after she married you, she had one last fling with the man who was taking care of her. And he has proof. If you want, I can get the video and send it to you." Victor's face was livid. In that moment, he finally understood what it felt like to be completely and utterly cheated on. Losing all control, he pushed Bella. "You lying piece of trash! You've been playing me this whole time! You made a fool out of me, and I'll kill you! I'll kill you for this!" Bella collapsed into tears. Victor kept yelling at her. "We're getting a divorce! We're done! And if you don't agree, I'll find someone to kill you, your parents, and your brother." Bella completely fell apart. She had done everything she could to marry into the Case family. She wanted to be a wealthy wife for the rest of her life. But now, that dream was shattered, and it was all because of Charlie. She hated him with every fiber of her being, But Charlie just smirked and said to Claire, "Let's leave these two to tear each other apart. Let's go." With that, he took Claire's hand and led her toward the elevator. Claire's eyes were wide with shock. She couldn't believe it. How did Charlie know so much about Bella's past? Her gaze shifted to Charlie, and she asked in disbelief, "Did you have her investigated?" "How could I? Where would I get that kind of power?" Charlie laughed. "A friend of mine was really hurt by Bella a while back. He's been digging up dirt on her ever since. I just didn't expect it to be so useful tonight." With that, he guided her into the elevator. As soon as the doors closed, Charlie pressed the button for the top floor. Claire quickly asked, "Charlie, did you press the wrong button? The top floor is the Sky Garden, isn't it?" Charlie smiled. "The Sky Garden is exactly where we're going." The words hit Claire like a bolt of lightning. The Sky Garden? How could that be possible? Everyone in Oris Hill knew that the Sky Garden had been booked tonight by some mysterious, wealthy person. Even with all of Charlie's hidden talents, there was no way he could book the Sky Garden for their 3rd wedding anniversary. But then, a wild idea popped into her head. Could Charlie be the mysterious man who had booked the entire Sky Garden? It seemed impossible, like a fairy tale. But right now, what other explanation was there? Thinking about it, Claire couldn't help but ask, "Charlie, did you book the Sky Garden?" Charlie smiled. "Yes, I wanted to give you the biggest surprise of your life today. A perfect wedding celebration that no one could ever replicate." What? Claire felt like her brain just shut down. If this was really the big surprise Charlie had planned for her, then didn't that make her the happiest woman in all of Oris Hill tonight? Her breath caught in her throat, and she could hardly think straight. Just as her mind was reeling, the elevator doors opened onto the top floor of the Aurelius Grand. A staff member at the entrance bowed slightly. "Miss Claire," he said with a smile, "on behalf of the Aurelius Grand, I'd like to offer our warmest congratulations to you and Mr. Charlie on your wedding anniversary tonight." Charlie waved his hand at the staff member. "You can all go now." Instantly, all the staff disappeared, leaving the entire Sky Garden to just Claire and Charlie. Claire felt like she was in a dream. She was standing in a massive, luxurious space. A magnificent crystal ceiling cast a clear, soft light, making the whole Sky Garden look elegant and serene. Soft, classical piano music filled the air, seeming to melt away any tension or worry. The air was filled with the scent of fresh, exotic flowers, flown in from overseas. The fragrance wasn't overpowering, just a subtle, beautiful scent that made everything feel peaceful. Then the music shifted, and the classic wedding march began to play, its beautiful melody echoing through the space. As Claire was taking in the breathtaking scenery, she saw Charlie walking toward her. He had changed into a handsome suit and holding a bouquet of flowers. With every step he took, shimmering red hearts bloomed across the crystal glass floor beneath his feet. The hearts seemed to dance in time with the music, creating an incredible visual effect. At that moment, outside the Sky Garden, a crowd of people was pressed against the glass walls and floor, trying to see what was happening inside. The only problem was that the glass of the Sky Garden had been intentionally blurred. They could just make out the figures of a young man and woman inside, and the beautiful flowers surrounding them. They could also see the red hearts lighting up on the floor. The women in the crowd were swooning. "This is so romantic! I've never seen anything like it in my life. If I were her, I think I'd die from happiness right now. Oh my God! That guy must be that mysterious rich man. It's a shame we can't see his face. What a tease!" The scene inside the Sky Garden completely captivated the crowd watching from the outside. Thousands of people stared up, their faces a mixture of awe and intense envy. Their eyes were filled with good wishes as they gazed at the grand garden that seemed to be floating in the sky. Countless women burst into tears, overwhelmed by a jealousy so strong they wished they could trade places with the woman inside, the star of this incredible night. Even though no one could see their faces clearly, they could all feel how incredibly happy she must be. Charlie walked toward her, gesturing to the sparkling city lights of Oris Hill outside the floor-to-ceiling windows. He looked at her lovingly and said, "Claire, I love you. I couldn't give you a proper wedding back then. I hope you like this one, a wedding just for the two of us." Claire finally snapped back to reality, covering her mouth with her hands as tears streamed down her face. They fell like little pearls onto the crystal floor. Hearing his words, Claire couldn't hold back her emotions any longer. She rushed forward and threw her arms around Charlie. "I love it! I really love it! Thank you! Thank you, Charlie! Thank you!" As she spoke, she cried even harder. In that moment, she felt that all the pain and disrespect she had endured for the past 3 years had been completely worth it. It didn't matter how Charlie had managed to do all this. Right now, she was happier than she had ever been. Tonight, she was the happiest woman in all of Oris Hill. Through the blurry crystal glass, the whole city of Oris Hill watched this incredibly grand wedding. And while tons of people were super envious, they were also wondering who the couple getting married in the Sky Garden was. The couple was a total mystery. It was just the two of them at the wedding. No family, no friends, not even a witness. On the crystal platform, Charlie took Claire's hand and pulled out a jade necklace he had waiting for her. "Claire, this is your wedding anniversary gift. I hope you like it." Claire looked at the flawless diamond necklace and, "Isn't this the masterpiece from the rare earth?" "Charlie, where did you get it?" As she spoke, Claire was stunned. Could Charlie be that super rich guy from the video? How else could this diamond necklace be in his hands? But no, that can't be right. She knew Charlie better than anyone. How could he be some super rich guy? He was the complete opposite of rich. Seeing Claire's surprise, Charlie felt a sudden urge to tell her the truth, to reveal his real identity, that he was a descendant of the powerful Wade family and the heir to a fortune worth trillions. But just as quickly, a serious thought stopped him. He had no idea what the situation with the Wade family was right now. He remembered meeting his uncle when he was a kid, which meant his father wasn't the only son in his generation of the Wade family. And if he had uncles, they probably had kids of their own, heirs. Those cousins would definitely see him as a threat. If he revealed his identity without knowing the full picture and without the power to protect himself and Claire, he was afraid she would be killed. Rich families could be ruthless when it came to fighting over money. He couldn't risk his beloved wife's safety. Thinking about this, he decided to lie. "This necklace looks exactly like the one from the rare earth," he said, "but it's actually a copy I had someone make. It's made with good jade, but it's nowhere near the quality of the one from the rare earth. This one cost me tens of thousands." Then, Charlie asked Claire nervously, "Claire, do you not like it?" Claire felt a wave of relief. That made a lot more sense. She smiled and said, "Silly, how could I not like it? You've done so much. I'm beyond moved." Charlie let out a breath he didn't realize he was holding and quickly fastened the jade necklace around Claire's neck. He looked into her eyes with sincerity and said, "Claire, I know you've put up with a lot being married to me for the past 3 years, but starting today, I promise no one will ever bully you again." Claire nodded, her heart full. In that moment, she realized her husband was finally stepping up. When the night was over, Charlie quietly led Claire to a private elevator in the Sky Garden. The crowd of onlookers felt a sense of disappointment. Had the hero and heroine already left? It was like they appeared out of nowhere, gave the world a glimpse of this incredible romance, and then just vanished. Arya's real face. For a while, the whole city was buzzing about the huge wedding. but nobody knew who the happy couple was. Charlie drove the 520, which was actually a modified 760, and took his wife home. On the way, Claire was still lost in a haze of happiness, replaying the last few hours in her mind. She couldn't help but ask Charlie, "How did you book the Sky Garden? I thought they never did private events, right?" Charlie smiled and said, "Honestly, a top executive at the Aurelius Grand is an old friend of mine from the orphanage. We went through some tough times together. I mean, we used to split a single dinner roll between us. So I asked him for a favor this time, and he really came through." Claire nodded. "Oh, I see. How come you've never mentioned him before?" Charlie said, "I had a lot of friends at the orphanage. It would take me 3 days and 3 nights to tell you about all of them. I just figured you wouldn't be interested, so I never brought it up." Claire said seriously, "You're my husband. Of course I'm interested in your past. I really want to know." Charlie smiled and said, "All right then, I'll tell you more." "Okay." When they got back to their neighborhood, Charlie pulled the car up to their building. He had just parked and was getting out with Claire when they ran right into her parents walking home. Her mom saw them and immediately gasped, "Claire, where did this car come from?" When her dad saw the car, his eyes lit up. "Wow! Claire, did you buy it new? This is a big deal." Claire quickly said, "Dad, Mom, I didn't buy the car. Charlie did." "Charlie?" Her dad frowned and asked, "Charlie, where did you get the money for this? Did you use our household money?" Charlie quickly replied, "No, Dad, I bought it with my own money." Her mom walked around the car looking it over and scoffed. He eats our food and lives in our house, and then he saves up to buy a car without a thought for us. What an ungrateful freeloader." Claire quickly jumped in. "Mom, don't talk about Charlie like that." Her dad's voice dripped with jealousy. "And you bought a 520. A guy like Charlie doesn't deserve a car this nice. Isn't the 3 Series good enough for him?" Her mom said coldly, "I'm telling you, your dad doesn't even have a car." "He's not getting any younger. If you don't let him enjoy things now, he might not get the chance later." Then she said angrily, "So give this car to your dad." Claire looked at Charlie and asked quietly, "Charlie, what do you think?" Charlie thought to himself, "Yeah, right. But this isn't a 520, it's a 760. Honestly, his father-in-law was a total pushover, and even Lady Wilson didn't have much respect for him. A 760 would be a complete waste on him. Thinking fast, he put on a smile. "Oh, Dad, this is just the 520, the lowest model in the 5 Series. It's basically the base model. If you drive this car around, people will make fun of you." His mother-in-law's eyebrows shot up. "What? Are you trying to get out of giving it to us?" Charlie quickly waved his hands. "No, that's not it at all. How could I? I just think you can't be driving around in a base model. So instead of giving you this 520, I'll buy you a 530. The 530 is a step up, so you'll have some status when you drive it." His mother-in-law frowned and asked, "And you have the money to buy a 530? Charlie said, "I only put a down payment on this car, and I still have some money left over. Don't worry. I'll buy you a new car first thing tomorrow morning." The second her parents heard Charlie promise to buy them a better car tomorrow, they were all smiles. Her dad had no idea he'd just missed out on a top-of-the-line 760. Claire was still a little worried, though. After they went back to their room and got ready for bed, she quietly asked Charlie, "Do you really have enough money to buy another car? I have some savings. You can take and use them." Charlie quickly waved his hand. "No, don't worry. I have enough." Claire apologized, saying, "I'm so sorry. I can't believe my parents are like this." Charlie smiled and said, "What are you talking about? Your parents are my parents now. We're a family, and it's only right to take care of them." With that, Charlie lay down on his makeshift bed on the floor and smiled. "Don't worry. I'll buy them another one first thing tomorrow morning." Claire said, "Charlie, thank you, Charlie." "Hey, what are you being so formal for, my wife?" Claire blushed and asked, "Aren't you going to be cold sleeping on the floor tonight?" Charlie, "Nope, not cold at all. Don't worry, I'm fine." Claire, "Well, if you're not cold, then just go to sleep, you idiot." She was finally trying to invite him into bed, but the idiot was completely oblivious. That's when it finally dawned on Charlie. He'd just missed a huge hint. So he quickly said, "Oh, honey, you know what? It's actually freezing down here. I'm starting to shiver." Claire said, "If you're cold, then grab another blanket." Charlie's hopes sank. After a few moments, he decided to try again. "Honey, I think the temperature dropped. I'm really cold now." Claire ignored him, kicking a blanket off her bed and onto the floor. She said, "How cold can it be on a summer night? If you're still cold, I can find you a winter coat to wear." Charlie was devastated. It looked like his wife really wasn't going to let him sleep in the bed tonight. The next morning, Claire was getting ready for work. Charlie made her breakfast, handed her the key to the car, and said, "Why don't you drive to the office today?" Claire hesitated. "It's your car. Is it really okay for me to drive it to work?" Charlie said, "Of course, you're my wife. The car was always for you, not for me." Claire nodded and said, "Thank you." After that, she took the key from him. Her dad, who was standing nearby, looked on with envy. "And Charlie, you said you were going to buy me a car. You didn't forget, did you?" "I didn't forget," Charlie said. "Just hang tight. I'm going to buy it for you today. You just wait for me to drive the new car home." Her dad's face lit up with a smile. "All right then, I'll be waiting." "A 5:30, that's what you said. Don't get the wrong one." Charlie chuckled, nodded, and said, "Dad, don't worry. Buy you the 5:30 today." After that, he followed his wife downstairs and pulled his little electric scooter out of the trunk of the 760. Claire drove the 760 to work, while Charlie rode his electric scooter back to the dealership. As he got close to the dealership, he happened to pass by the entrance of the same dealership he had left in rage. The salespeople at the dealership spotted him first. One of them blurted out, "Holy crap! It's the guy who bought the 760, and he's back on that little electric scooter." "Man, I don't care if we have to beg," another said. "We have to stop him and sell him a fully loaded Gravix Elite from here. Let's go." Suddenly, a whole group of salesmen rushed out and swarmed around him. "Sir, come to our dealership and check out the latest top-of-the-line Gravix Elite." "Sir, our Gravix Elite is incredibly powerful. It's got a W12 engine, which is even better than the V12 in the 760 from the other manufacturer." Charlie asked, "Is that so?" "It's true," a salesman jumped in eagerly. "Listen, let me tell you, our W12 engine has a feature where you can shut down half the cylinders. When half of the 12 cylinders are off, you're only running on 6, which saves a ton of gas." Charlie said with a smirk, "So, I should buy a 12-cylinder car just to turn off 6 of the cylinders to save gas. Wouldn't it just be easier to buy a 6-cylinder car in the first place?" The salesman's face turned red as he realized his mistake, and he stammered, unable to find a response. Charlie sneered at them. "I know what you're all thinking. You're just upset that I bought a 760 yesterday, so today you're trying to suck up to me and make me your customer, right?" The group of salespeople all nodded quickly. Charlie, "Well, listen up. It's too late. Yesterday you all blew me off. Today, I'm way out of your league." After saying that, Charlie pressed the horn on his little electric scooter. It let out a sharp beep. "Get out of my way. I'm going to the other dealership to buy a car." A salesman ran out and yelled, "Hey, you clowns! What do you think you're doing? Are you trying to steal our customers? Didn't you see he just blew you off? If you keep harassing our valued client, I swear I'll call the news and expose all of you." The Gravix Elite guys couldn't take the heat, so they had no choice but to walk away, looking defeated. The manager of the other dealership came out to greet Charlie personally and asked respectfully, "Mr. Charlie, are you looking to buy another car today?" Charlie nodded. "Do you have a 530 in stock? I want to drive it off the lot today." Yes! The manager was ecstatic. He bought a 760 yesterday and now a 530 today. This guy was a serious VIP. So he quickly said, "Sir, please come with me. I'll show you the one we have on the floor." Charlie nodded and followed him into the showroom. There was a 530 right there in the showroom. Charlie got in to check it out. He noticed that even though the car looked a lot like the 7 Series from the outside, the interior was a definite downgrade. Still, for its class, it was considered a high-end model. He was just about to pull out his card and buy the car. Just then, he heard a familiar voice say, "Oh, honey, I absolutely love the X6. Will you buy me an X6? From inside the car, Charlie looked toward the voice and saw Aria, the fiancée of his college friend Darren. She was clinging to the arm of some other guy, looking way too close and flirty. Charlie frowns. He thought to himself, Aria called that guy honey. Is she cheating on Darren? He couldn't help but feel angry. He had no tolerance for people with no morals, especially when it came to being unfaithful. On top of that, Darren was always so busy with work, and here she was sneaking around behind his back. A woman like that was just disgusting. Just then, he heard the man, who had a sleazy look on his face, ask, "If I bought you the X6 right now, what would you tell Darren?" "Darren," Aria said with a look, "don't even bring up that loser. His family needs money, but he doesn't have any, and he's got no ambition. Honestly, if he weren't so predictable and easy to manage, I wouldn't be with him at all." The man, Logan Weaver, grinned and squeezed Aria's face. "You're my woman now," he said. "Are you still going to be with him?" "No one else gets to touch a woman who's with me." Aria quickly said, "Don't worry, Logan. I haven't let him touch me since we got together. I think he's gross." "I am all yours, Logan. Only for you." Then she explained, "Actually, I was going to break up with him right after the restaurant opened. But I didn't expect that a guy he knew from school turned out to be pretty connected. He helped Darren sort out that mess with Scarface in the development zone. I just want to wait for the business to get steady before I tell him we're done and kick him out of the restaurant." Logan laughed. "Scarface? That's nothing. If you'd told me sooner, I could have made that guy apologize to you with just one phone call." Aria smiled and said, "Oh, you're the best, Logan. It all happened so fast, I didn't even think to call you. Besides, Darren was right there, and I was worried you'd be upset if you ran into him." Logan pinched her waist and said with a smiling smile, "You're a smart girl." Aria quickly rubbed against his arm and said, "So Logan, are you going to buy that X6 for me?" Logan smiled. "All right. First, we go back to my place, and you take good care of me. Then you break up with that loser, and I'll buy you the X6 tomorrow." Aria asked excitedly, "Logan, are you serious? You'll really buy me the X6 tomorrow?" "Have I ever lied to you?" Logan grinned. "But you have to earn it first." Aria immediately winked. "Don't you worry, honey. I'll take very good care of you when we get to your place." With that, the two of them turned and left the dealership. Charlie was disgusted by the two of them. He immediately pulled out his phone and called Darren. Darren answered right away, sounding excited. "Charlie, what's up, man? What made you call?" Charlie said casually, "Just calling to check in. What are you up to?" Darren said, "I'm helping out in the kitchen at the restaurant. The lunch rush is about to start, so I'm just giving them a hand." Charlie asked, "Are you at the restaurant every day?" Darren replied, "Yeah, the restaurant just opened, so there's a ton to do. Besides, more than half the money for this place came from Aria's dad. If I don't work my butt off, they'll look down on me." Charlie asked again, "How much did you put in?" "I put in $100,000. It was all the money I'd saved up since I graduated from college." Charlie continued, "So, who actually owns the restaurant?" Darren said, "I do." Charlie asked, "Is your name on the business registration?" Darren said, "Well, no. The business registration is in Aria's dad's name. Since Arya and I aren't married yet, and her family put up most of the money, it didn't feel right to put my name on it. Then Darren added, but her dad said that after we get married, he'll transfer ownership of the restaurant to me. Charlie shook his head as he listened. Poor guy. He had no idea he was being used. Arya was treating him like a workhorse, making him slave away at the restaurant in the development zone. Meanwhile, she was sneaking around with rich guys planning to kick him to the curb. The restaurant had nothing to do with Darren on paper. The second Arya decided to dump him, he'd be left with nothing. When that happened, not only would all his hard work be for nothing, but his own $100,000 would be gone too. Thinking about it made him even more disgusted with Arya. He asked Darren directly, so where did Arya go just now? Darren smiled and said, she went to get her hair done. Why, what's wrong? Charlie sneered. Get her hair done? Is that what she told you? Yeah, that's right. And you believe her? Darren asked, his voice surprised. Charlie, what are you getting at? Just spit it out. Don't beat around the bush. Charlie sighed and said, all right, I'll just tell you the truth. I saw Arya at a car dealership. She was all over some guy named Logan Weaver, calling him honey and everything. I think she's cheating on you, man. No way! Darren blurted out. Arya's not like that at all. Are you sure you didn't see someone else? Charlie said confidently. I'm positive it was her. I don't believe it, Darren said coldly. Look, Charlie, we're good friends, but that doesn't give you the right to talk trash about my fiancé. Charlie said coldly. Darren, wake up. Your fiancé is with another guy. This Logan Weaver promised to buy her AX6. Arya's going home with him right now, and she's going to break up with you when she gets back. As your old friend, I'm telling you, you need to get ready. Before Darren could answer, Charlie went on. You should get that painting I gave you and put it somewhere safe. Keep it. It'll give you the capital you need to start over. But if you don't believe me, then there's nothing I can do to help you with what's coming. Darren was getting angry now. Charlie, stop talking crazy. Arya is my fiancé. I know her better than anyone, and she would never betray me. If you say one more thing against her, we're done. Charlie frowned and said flatly, fine. As a friend, I've told you what you need to know. If you don't want to believe me, there's nothing more I can do. Good luck. After saying that, Charlie hung up. What an idiot. Completely blinded by love, Charlie thought. I should have just taken a video and sent it to him. Just then, the manager of the store knocked on his window. Sir, are you happy with this 530? Charlie nodded. It's great. I'll take it. Can you get me a new one from your inventory? The manager's face lit up. Of course. Just a moment. I'll have someone bring the car around. A few minutes later, a salesman pulled up in a brand new black 530. Charlie paid with his card, folded up his little e-bike, stuck it in the trunk, and drove off. On the way home, his father-in-law and mother-in-law both called, one after the other, asking if he was back yet. When Charlie pulled up, he saw his in-laws were already waiting for him downstairs. Seeing that Charlie had actually bought a 530, the couple was thrilled. His father-in-law circled the car a few times, exclaiming, "Nice car! A really nice car! I never thought I'd get to drive this!" Charlie smiled and said, "Dad, who knows? Maybe you'll be driving a top luxury car one day." His father-in-law laughed. "Well, that all depends on you, doesn't it?" His mother-in-law was just as happy, and her attitude toward Charlie had clearly improved. His father-in-law hopped in for a test drive. When he got back, he said, "The car is fantastic, really comfortable, but it's a bit long for me and not that easy to handle. Charlie, you'll have to be my driver this afternoon. I have an appointment to go see someone about some things." Charlie nodded. "Okay, Dad." Then his mother-in-law said, "And after that, you can be my chauffeur and take me to afternoon tea with my friends. Let them see me getting picked up in a nice car for a change." "Okay, Mom." After lunch, his father-in-law, Jacob, already dressed nicely, urged Charlie, "Charlie, hurry up and get ready. We're taking the new car to the vintage market." There's a new Thompson House antique vase at one of the shops, and I want to check it out." Charlie couldn't help but try to talk him out of it. "Dad, are you getting back into antiques again? We don't have a lot of money right now. Isn't buying antiques a little extravagant?" Jacob wasn't good at making money, but he had big dreams of getting rich. He liked to wander around the vintage market whenever he had nothing to do, hoping to find a hidden treasure. But in the last few years, he'd pretty much just gotten scammed every time. He had stopped for a while, but now it seemed his hobby was back. Seeing that Charlie dared to question him, Jacob, "Enough with the lecture. Just drive me there." Charlie knew he couldn't win, so he agreed and drove Jacob to the vintage market. Aris Hill was a well-known historical city. Its vintage market, located just outside the main tourist area, was famous throughout the United States. Antique dealers and collectors from all over the country flocked there. The local tourism board had even capitalized on its popularity, spending a lot of money to renovate the market and turn it into a major tourist attraction. When they got to the vintage market, Jacob walked up to an antique shop and told the receptionist he had an appointment. The receptionist then invited them into the VIP lounge in the back to view the item. Charlie started to follow, but Jacob turned back. "Don't come in. You wouldn't understand any of this anyway. Just wait for me outside the VIP lounge." Charlie nodded. "Okay, Dad." With his hands clasped behind his back, Jacob followed the staff member into the VIP lounge, and Charlie took a seat in the waiting area. A few minutes later, Charlie suddenly heard a sharp cracking sound from the VIP lounge. A moment later, he saw his father-in-law stumble out, completely panicked. "It's over. It's over. This is all over." Charlie hurried over and looked past Jacob. On the floor, a tall, slender ceramic vase lay in two large pieces, surrounded by smaller shards. Looking at the broken pieces, Charlie could tell it was supposed to be a Thompson period porcelain vase. Having grown up with the Wade family, Charlie knew a thing or two about antiques. He could tell at a glance that the vase was a genuine antique, something that could easily sell for several $1 million on the market. Looks like Jacob had really messed up this time. Inside the VIP lounge, a middle-aged man said with a grim expression, "Mr. Wilson, our antique porcelain vase was worth at least $5 million. Now that you've broken it, you're going to have to pay." This was Enzo Zimmerman, the manager of the antique gallery. Jacob grabbed Charlie and said frantically, "This is my son-in-law. He's loaded. Do you have any idea how much money he has? $5 million is nothing to him. Even $50 million would be pocket change. He'll pay you right now. You can talk to him. I've got to go." With that, Jacob shoved Charlie forward, turned, and bolted out the door. Charlie stood there, stunned. His father-in-law was unbelievable. This was a classic setup, leaving him to take the fall. Enzo glared at Charlie and asked coldly, "Sir, the total comes to $5.38 million. Will you be paying by card or bank transfer?" Charlie held up his hands. "I don't have any money." It wasn't that he couldn't afford it. He just wanted to teach his father-in-law a lesson so he'd stop coming to the vintage market every day. "No money?" Enzo gritted his teeth. "You broke our most valuable piece and you think you can just walk away by claiming you're broke?" Charlie said helplessly, "I'm not trying to hide anything. I really don't have the money. Besides, I'm not the one who broke your vase. Why should I be the one to pay for it?"